for our souls, like we should be careful to like, maybe that's not worth entering into and visiting.
Yeah.
Those images are going to be stuck with you forever.
Hi, everyone. From Rolling Hills Covenant Church, this is Ask Anyway, the podcast where we get to explore all the questions you've always wanted to ask, but maybe have been too afraid to. Got a question, but you're not sure if you can ask it in church? This is the place for you. Don't be afraid. Go ahead and ask anyway. I'm the host for the discussion today. My name is Nick, and I'm joined by Connor Miller, our high school pastor.
Hey, guys.
And Kyle Sinagra, our junior high director.
Heyo.
So the question that we have today is movie related. The question comes from Joel, and specifically it's, should Christians watch R-rated movies / movies with sorcery? So before we get into the question, I wanted to kind of just bounce over to you, Kyle, real quick. We know you're the junior high director, as I just said.
Yeah.
But why are we talking about movies with you?
Yeah. So Nick and I went to Biola University, and we went there to study film. So we studied film for 4 years. We also went to high school together, and we studied film in high school as well.
Made a bunch of videos that are
Yeah.
hopefully not findable anywhere.
Yeah, if you look hard enough, you'll probably find a couple of them. But yeah, we were, our professor in high school, he had us watch a bunch of different movies, and we talked about them. We had friends that would watch movies with us, like whether it was a Western film, like a film made in the US, or a film made in another country, and we'd just sit down, eat some food after a movie, and just like talk about it for like hours, or just amongst each other, and did that in college as well, and had professors that would show us like obscure movies in other languages or in our language, and we just kind of got to look at the deeper sides of film together. So.
Yeah, started or continue on like a love for the medium, for watching films, anything from like a super entertainment heavy like Marvel movie to some like crazy art house film that's like black and white and French or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, I didn't understand that, but apparently it's good. Yeah, maybe I'm not the best film critic, but anyway, it's like important to consider it and how we interact with movies, especially for pretty much everybody. Movies are everywhere. Everyone watches them to some degree. If it's not even in the theater, maybe it's that one movie you watch every Christmas or something.
Yeah, maybe it's Hallmark,
Maybe it's Hallmark movies. Yeah. I don't know
This is good. It's good that we're all talking because much like you guys, I despise movies.
You're much like us.
I'm just kidding.
I don't contrarian.
I don't despise movies.
Television only.
Well, media is the devil.
Are you a book guy?
Can we censor that?
I think books are media too, right?
I might be the stick in the mud in this conversation.
Stick it up.
I might be the stick in the mud. And that's okay. I think I fit into the stick in the mud category on some of these podcasts.
Oh, that sounds kind of sad.
So after the traffic clause one,
I
was talking to somebody and they're like, you're a legalist, man. Like, we're saying we should obey the speed limits. You're a legalist.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Maybe I am the stick in the mud.
That's a quick side story. I was taking my driver's test on my first time. So I did twice. I failed the first time. But the first time, my driver guy was like, "Why are you driving so slow?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I'm going the speed limit." He's like, "Look at the traffic. They're going way faster than you. Go the speed of the traffic."
Yeah.
Dang.
To be fair, too, if you're on a podcast, I don't think you should ever advocate for breaking the law.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay.
I think you're in the right side of history, telling people to obey the law.
Okay, nice. Good point. I feel a little better about that.
You can be a stick in the mud with this, though.
I'll be a stick in the mud. I'll be the puritanic movies are.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts?
No, I'm just kidding.
What are your thoughts on movies, and then maybe specifically R-rated movies? Because that's Joel's question.
Yeah.
Specifically.
So, okay, me and movies. I think I grew up loving movies, or like, I don't know, I watch movies. Yeah. I think the way you all are describing interacting with movies is unique. Like just this walking away and like analyzing and paying for 4 years of education to learn how to watch a movie. I'm just kidding. I'm not saying that's what you guys did.
That was part of it. That was a piece. They literally want to teach you how to watch movies well.
So, so I don't know. I liked watching movies. I watch them far less now. Part of it's just having kids.
Yeah.
I haven't been to the movie theaters since before my oldest daughter was born. So it's been over 3 years now without going to the movie theaters. And the movies I watch have changed dramatically. I've seen Moana now.
What are you watching? Yeah.
I've seen, what else? We watched
Frozen?
Peter Pan the other day.
Oh, dude, Peter Pan's really good.
We watched quite a bit of Frozen.
Nice.
But yeah, I think more so just lately I'm wrestling with and thinking a lot about like how are we entertained and like what are we choosing to consume. And I think that's made me more, I don't know, critical of anything I'd sit down and do for 2 hours.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think maybe I've just been more negative towards movies lately. So maybe that'll bleed through. Don't take that as like aggression towards you all. Or,
I feel personally attacked for sure. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, I think when life gets busier, like you end up cutting out the things that are not priorities. And I don't think for most people, movies are a priority or even should be a priority. They're enjoyable and they're like an addition. You know, they're like the frosting on top of the cake, you know, so to speak.
Frosting.
But yeah, also, I mean,
the film majors comparing movies to the best part of the cake. That doesn't make sense.
then just inverted and it's the cake. Anyway, yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kyle, on kind of having that level of discernment or discretion when you go to watch a movie to not, I mean, because the question is, should Christians watch R-rated movies? And then it gets into the sorcery as well. But
yeah, so maybe let's reframe the question
Sure.
and try to get to what they're getting at.
Sorry,
so it
Joel.
seems, how dare
You have to wait like 3 hours, 3-hour podcast.
we just give you a short answer. No. End the podcast.
Don't watch
Christians
anything
watch R-rated
ever.
movies? Absolutely not. There are no circumstances. But all the other ones are fine. No. So
Bluey.
he's getting at, is there a certain amount of bad content in a movie that should keep us from watching the movie? Like, and what is that limit? Like, because he puts R-rated movies or movies with sorcery. He's saying like there's content in some movies that Christians should just say no to. And there's immoral content, which is sinful for us to watch. So there's a difference here. Like watching a movie is being entertained by a thing, is watching a thing. It's hard to say like you watching a movie is to participate in whatever's going on the screen.
Yeah.
Because you're not.
You're an observer. Yeah.
In most cases, you're not participating. I think we'll get to it later, but I think there's at least one instance of content in a movie that you do participate in as the watcher. But if you're just watching it, you're not participating. How bad is a movie before a Christian should say, I want no part of it? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it typically? I think I've seen like if there's sex and nudity, that's it. That's the line.
Yeah.
We don't watch it. But growing up, it was for me is like, is the Lord's name in vain used more than 10 times or something? I think my parents just picked a number. Or, is the language, is the F-bomb used so many times? Or it's usually not these days violence. I think it's less often that violence is a thing where people say, if there's any sort of blood, you can't watch it.
Yeah.
But that's still one of those limits that people put on it. So like, what are the limits? What should the limits be? So I think that's the main question.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that restates it in a way that's even applicable to different age groups. If you're younger and you can't watch an R-rated movie, or if you're older and you can, to still have discernment. Just because it's legal in society doesn't mean that it's prohibited or that you should be doing it. Also, real quick, the Movie Picture Association, it defines like R-rated restriction rating based on adult material such as graphic violence, nudity, strong language, and drug use. Just so you guys are aware of that. I think they get really into the weeds because I know like PG-13s or movies are allowed like one.
You can have one F word, right?
Yeah, but it has to be like a non-sexual use of the F word or something like that. I could be wrong on that. You could fact check me.
Well, this is depending on the date too. I remember growing up, my parents were like, you can watch a movie Airplane. It's rated PG. Yeah. And I remember watching it and there's nudity in it. And I remember being a 13-year-old like, Mom, Dad.
You're like, what?
Like, oh, turn it off.
Yeah. Because I mean, these rating systems have developed over time. So you can't just go off the rating systems. But those are kind of the main categories. So
I just saw a PG-13 movie this year, I think, where I think there was like 2 F words in it, not just one.
Interesting.
So
yeah, it's kind of
seems like it's always changing.
Then there's plenty of movies too that I mean, like I just wouldn't really watch. Like I don't watch horror movies. You know, it's too scary for me.
Well, that fits into this category.
Yeah, but a lot of those. I mean, that's not one of these specific things that would make it R-rated. So there's plenty of like PG-13 movies that I would just not watch because it's too spooky.
But it's a content thing. Like there are parents who will say you can't watch horror movies as a Christian because this sort of content is in it.
Yeah.
So,
And maybe that gets more towards like the sorcery part of the question.
Yeah, that's good.
If you're watching a horror movie and it's like aliens versus like it's demons and angels and
Yeah.
You got a Ouija board in there.
yeah, like super like spiritual stuff. Maybe that's a little different.
Yes. So, getting to the core of the question, I don't know. Maybe we should answer like, what is the point of watching movies? Like, what is happening when we watch movies? When you sit down and you watch a movie, for most people, because it's probably different for you guys. Like, you're sitting down to evaluate it. But I think I'd say probably for most people, the point of watching movies is entertainment.
Sure.
Like, I'm going to sit down for 2 hours and be entertained. Yes? No?
Majority. We have a wide range of people in our congregation. Like something that we talked about before, we also talked about before, is within my own family, what we watch movies for is very different. Like my dad is like romantic movies, historical drama movies.
Like it has to be based on a real person.
Yeah, it has to be a true story. If it's not a true story, like I don't really want to watch it. Fantasy, get that out of here.
I think that's still being entertained though, because unless he's like sitting there taking notes. Like, oh, this is the date of this event. And
he
this is what this
values
happened.
a lot of like, like those war films and learning about like those historical moments.
So it's
Yeah.
like
True
maybe
stories
more
like
like
that.
educational at that point.
Yeah, because like one of his favorite movies, not war, but like is Gifted Hands, and it's focuses on like Ben Carson's life. But he uses that film then to bridge into whoever's watching it, learning about Ben Carson's actual life and learning about why he's like an important individual, and he's used that to share the gospel. So, but my dad might also be unique turned to other people. But we do feel like we have like people in our congregation that would maybe watch something because they want to connect with a historical event or something true that happened.
And the opposite side of that would be your mom watching movies.
My mom's just like, let's get Mission Impossible on. Let's watch like
That's
Star Wars.
my kind of movies.
Yeah.
Let's watch a thriller. Yeah, my mom is definitely more of what you would expect a typical like just U.S. citizen American.
Yeah.
Just be like, let's just be entertained. But she also appreciates those other films. But in general, it's like, let's watch something enjoyable.
Yeah. And I guess I would still push it. Like, even then, if it's historical focus, if you're trying to learn something, it's still for entertainment's sake most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's
you're
necessarily
entertained
fair to,
by that learning.
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily fair to compare like books and movies, but I feel like there's a kind of an idea that books are more valuable or provide more value than like movies do. And maybe I'm just like, that's a hot take. I don't know. But I feel like movies can be more entertainment focused, with like the way they're edited together, the music, whatever. It's like it really guides like the audience member to like be a part, like to follow along in a certain way. But I don't think that necessarily means that it's only for like entertainment, because it can totally be an educational tool. But I think also there's plenty of movies out there that even if they're not historically about somebody who really lived, they're representing something that is like a piece of history or forgotten thing or a theme that's like really important, like sacrifice or selflessness or something like that, where now that you're watching that, you almost like gain this life experience that you didn't actually have or didn't actually live through, but you're vicariously living through this other person watching them on screen. And then you can think about that and talk about it after. Think like, would I do that? Like, would I have the courage to stand up for injustice or something like that? Would I have the, the faith to follow this person or something like that into battle, or to follow? And then you kind of can say, well, how do I follow Jesus, through that? So maybe it's a stretch to say that like movies grow your faith, like 1-to-1 kind of thing. But I think there's more value than just entertainment in movies. So.
Well, and don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like entertainment is bad. That's not what I'm saying. And I'm not trying to put a negative connotation on the idea of sitting down for a couple hours to watch a movie.
Yeah.
We all do things to entertain ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to a point where we can, get philosophical about like, if you're sitting down for the sake of something, entertainment, education, how much does the content affect that? And so like, so the next question I would ask is like, is it good for a Christian to be entertained by things, actions, whatever it is, portrayals of things that we would say is sinful. Like, is it healthy for a Christian to sit down and, even if they're like, I would never do that, I would never condone that, I think that's wrong, could they sit down and be entertained by it and it still be okay? Like this, because I'm not participating in the thing, because I'm not the one actually being John Wick and going out and killing all these bad guys, can I like enjoy it and revel in it? And,
I think that's why I would only push back on the entertainment thing, because I agree. I don't think entertainment is inherently like sinful. But I think there's certain times like movies that like you're watching it and you're not necessarily like, I'm so entertained right now. You kind of have like maybe a sickening feeling because you're watching someone do something that's bad or like fall down this path that you're like, no, don't do that. And in some ways, maybe it's a cautionary tale or something like that. And it's like not necessarily entertainment in that sense. Does that make sense? It's almost like a life lesson.
Yeah, like what's the movie with Jim Caviezel that was about human trafficking? I can't think of the title right now.
Sound of Freedom?
Yeah, Sound of Freedom is a film that just comes to mind. It's like, its purpose isn't just to be like, I had a lot of fun, because I don't think anybody who watched that movie came out of theater and was like, I had a lot of fun.
Or like, I feel super entertained.
Yeah, it's definitely a film used to raise awareness of like human trafficking. And it does a good job, because it is a Christian film, of not showing a ton of like graphic things, but it's still dealing with like a pretty heavy topic. And so I think it's a good film to kind of talk about, because like, are you going to show that to an elementary school kid? Like, probably not. Like, it's probably too heavy for them. They shouldn't be thinking about that stuff maybe yet, or engaging with a visualization of like something that actually happened, of where they're trying to free kids from human trafficking. But like, for those old enough and those who can handle like what the film depicts, like they're not just like going out there being like, that was super fun, but like, oh, I realized that this is actually a bigger problem. Then I realized like I should probably advocate against human trafficking more. I didn't realize it was this big of an issue. Like sometimes film can be a gateway to understanding like, oh, like I'm now more aware of this topic or issue. And I think that was like the purpose of that film. But it's also a good example of like, I think the film does a good job of not reveling. I mean, it shows all the human trafficking stuff as evil, but also of not giving a window to like glorify it in any way, while also being something where it's like, it's not for everybody. Like, it's a heavy topic, and like certain kids probably shouldn't watch it.
Just to be clear.
Yeah.
I'm not saying entertainment is bad. I hate joy. I think of 1 Timothy 6, verse 17. We just studied this on Sunday. As for the rich in this present age, charge them not to be haughty, nor to set their hopes on the uncertainty of riches, but on God, who richly provides us with everything to enjoy. So that last phrase, God richly provides us with everything to enjoy. It's like, enjoyment is God's territory. Like, God gives us things to enjoy. So I'm not saying like entertainment is bad. It's certainly not. But there are moments where we'd say, for the sake of entertainment, I'm willing to condone, I don't know, like whatever it is, like
observer of sin.
Yeah, watch sinful sorts of things. An example of this, I think I got really into stand-up comedy back in college or seminary at some point, and just like I love it. It was very entertaining. It makes you laugh. It's great for long drives. It's something to bond with somebody over. And it was very easy to like, this guy's funny, and not all of his jokes are about explicit things, and not all of his jokes use the F word and are really vulgar. And like, even what we'd fit into like Ephesians 5, where it says like, no crude joking. Like, don't have any sort of crude joking among you. That sort of thing. That would just be very clearly, yes, that is crude joking. Yeah. But I'm not participating in it, so it's okay for me to laugh at it.
Gotcha.
And lately, I think I've been convicted of that. I think me consuming that is actually doing something to me, and is probably like me participating in it more than I realize. And I think comedy's a good one, because like, this one, you could actually go to a comedy club, and like I have, you go to a comedy club and sit and laugh at the jokes, and it's really easy to be like, well, I'm not telling them. maybe he's sinning. He's certainly sinning by saying these words and by making these jokes.
Yeah.
But I'm just watching it, so I'm not sinning.
Yeah.
I think that's a scary.
Well, yeah, it's like a bully at a school,
wrong.
right? Like a bully makes fun of a kid and like, you know, a bunch of kids laugh. Like they're like, well, I'm not the one who made the joke, but you're making it worse. You're
You're participating.
You are.
Yeah.
You know?
And a movie is different than going to a stand-up comedy club, but like how much different? Like it's different because you're sitting in your own home, you're behind a screen and no one sees you doing it.
Yeah.
But you're still like giving yourself to the whatever it is, like you're consuming it. You don't realize you're consuming the thing, but you're consuming the thing. It's becoming part of you.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's totally affecting you. I mean, I think just speaking personally, like I definitely went through like a similar phase to your stand-up comedy stuff, like in college. Like, man, there's so much pressure. I felt like being a film student, because if like you'd had that one movie you didn't watch that was like the movie you should have watched. I haven't watched Jaws still. I don't know if that's one of them, but
aren't you a film major, bro? What are you doing? Now people respond.
Exhibit A, yeah. Anyway,
It's actually in theaters right now.
is it really? Oh no. Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Now's my chance. Anyway, there's like always a movie you haven't seen. So there's kind of almost feels like a pressure to like watch everything, like so you can talk about it, you know, when other people ask you if you've seen it. So you have an opinion on a certain director or a certain film or something like that. And maybe it's just being like a young college student who doesn't have very good like discernment, but you're just kind of like, yeah, okay, I got to watch that, you know, and I don't think anybody's really considering like the impact of on their soul, you know, on their hearts and minds and stuff. So you just kind of watch it. And then, it just kind of got to a point where there's been plenty of movies you watch and you just feel like dirty afterwards. Like your soul just feels like, ooh,
Actually, like a palpable conviction about what you just
like
watched.
we've joked before and said it, like, oh, I need to go take a shower in holy water, you know, or whatever. And you're like, that's not a movie I should be watching, you know? And then, I mean, however long later, years later or whatever, like, and Kyle and I have talked about this a bunch, like there'll be movies that we have watched that we'd never watch again, or movies that we wanted to watch and there's a sequel or something coming out and just like, man, I don't think it's worth it. You know, I don't want to see that level of violence. I don't want to entertain, you know, sexual content or nudity. I don't want to support the profanity. I don't know if in this conversation is helpful to like label those or number them in a certain like order of like most offensive to least or something like that. But
it'll definitely come up. And we should talk about that.
Okay, well, we can talk about it later then. But yeah, I think just being aware of that, because then that was something for me where I was like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. And I feel like God kind of built up that sensitivity again in my mind, so that when I did watch something like that, it was like, ooh, I don't want to do that again. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. And I could speak on behalf of, I think both of us said it wasn't just like R-rated movies. Like, there's been things that even, which we can talk about later too, but things that have been PG where it's like, oh, I felt dirty after watching that, you know? So, and not just like the old rating system, you know?
Right. So like content beyond the rating system.
But like speaking on behalf of or a similar story to your comedy one and to your film one, which I could probably share the same thing, but another one for me is in college, like all my friends were listening to rap music. And like a lot of Kendrick Lamar, a lot of J. Cole, a lot of like lesser known guys like Mick Jenkins and just all these rapper guys. And like, especially at that time too, like Kendrick, like there were rumors like, oh, he's a Christian. And like at a college campus, a lot of students are like, it's okay to swear. And so I was like, oh, well, I'm not the one swearing. I'm listening to this Kendrick guy swear over and over again.
Sure.
What do you do when you sing the lyrics? You're just like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly. I would just not
Pause.
just pause. But
When you're in your car by yourself, you're saying them.
No,
Good.
actually, no.
Attaboy.
Yeah, but
He's coming up with replacement words.
You're holier than some people. Not me. I don't.
Anyway, no, but like, even though like, there were like in the car by myself, like censoring myself. But if I got frustrated, I got angry, I had been listening to those words over and over and over again. So like that would come out of my mouth. Like I found myself when I was frustrated, it was so easy for me to swear, so easy for me to like say things to people I really regretted. And I was like, dang, like this is really affecting my soul, like constantly hearing that word or this word. And so I was like, okay, like I need to, especially music, you know, you're singing along with it. With a movie, if like that language does come up or that joke does come up, you have the opportunity to not laugh. You have the opportunity to be like, I didn't like that part of this movie. And you have the opportunity with music too. But like, if a song has parts you don't like in it that are like explicit and wrong, you're probably not going to listen to it again. But anyway, all that to say is I changed what I listened to, and I was like, I just know for me, myself, my convictions, like I can't listen to like music with like explicit language in it anymore. Like that's just something that I got to cut out. And afterwards, like when I got frustrated, like over time, that like language started to leave. So the stuff we like do engage with, it does affect our soul for sure.
I wanted to bring up Psalm 101, verse 3. I just like kind of the first part of it, at least, was just, I will not set before my eyes anything that is worthless. I just thought that was good. Very to the point, especially referring to movies, talking about just setting something in front of your eyes for 2 hours to view it. So do you want to talk about a little bit more into those specific categories like violence, nudity, language, drug use?
Yeah. I think that's good. I think we start out with the one. So if you're watching something, you can say, I'm not really participating in it. I'm just watching it and being entertained by it.
Yeah.
The one that I don't think we can do that with, where even watching it is in some way participating in the action, is sexual content.
Sure.
That as we watch sexual acts on a screen, like the way our human bodies and our human minds work is you are participating in sexual activity by doing that. And I don't know, I guess you could argue like that there are cases where it's not sexualized and you can do it because it's not sexual and you're not feeling any sort of lust or you're not doing anything sexually immoral. I think it'd be hard to actually argue that. But I think sexual activity and nudity, those are ones that I don't think it's controversial as a Christian to say, no, we as Christians don't watch that. Maybe that's different for talking to film guys, because I think I went to CBU that had a film major, and like there were classes, and it wasn't like in the Christian studies program, is in the film program where the teachers are assigning like semi-pornographic type films to watch. I love you, CBU. I'm hearing this from other people, so I don't know if this is the case.
No, I mean, I love Biola too, but I mean, there's a certain pass, I guess, that certain like media gets, art, film specifically, because it's art, it's it's different. It's not, it's pornography. Like none of these other things have their own category. Like nudity, like sex on screen has its own thing, which is pornography. Like there's other things, violence or, language or drug use. It's not like signal or separated in that way. So I think like we should, try as hard as we possibly can to withhold from that. And I think that's why if you do go to watch a movie, like checking its because I was going to bring up like Parents Guide or something like that, something to that kind of screens it or shows you what's going on. Like I'll look at that, and that's definitely helpful. But it's also helpful for not just sexual content, but for gore and violence and that sort of thing too. It's always good to consider, and we'll touch on this in a bit too, but it's not everything. Like I wouldn't just do Parents Guide and then go, all right, I'm good to watch that movie.
Yeah. IMDb is great. It's one that not a lot of people know about, who aren't movie people. It's Internet Movie Database is what it stands for. It's a great way to like know what content is in a movie. There's a parent's guide on every movie. Sometimes there'll be stuff in there that you won't see on maybe a plugged in. Gotcha. Which is another great source. Plugged In's great for just explicit content.
If you just Google the movie and then type in like Parents Guide afterwards or something like that, it usually will give you the information you need to see.
So sexual content seems like one that you actually are participating when whether you realize it or not.
I guess a follow-up question to that would be, so what are your thoughts about like, so say there's a film that's depicting a historical event where there is rape involved, and they show like they show an example of that in the film. Like, is that like I can't watch that film, or I'm going to hide my eyes during that scene? What are I'm just curious what your two thoughts are on that. Just kind of like, okay, this is being depicted in a bad way, but they are like, these filmmakers are like, we need to show the atrocities that happened at this event.
Yeah.
Well, like as a Christian, like how should we interact with that?
Yeah, I think we need to be aware that everything we watch, every scene, every clip, every picture that we see is going into our brains and is making its home there.
Yeah.
And those images specifically, especially, like have a way of just sticking in heads.
Yeah.
And are just very easy for our brains to then think about and use in sinful ways, even if it's not in the moment, but later.
Yeah, regardless of the scene that's taking place.
Yeah, because in the moment you might be struck by how devastating and awful, and this isn't something sexual for people watching.
Yeah.
But it's easier to contextualize things or take them out of context later. And I don't know. I think you're playing with fire in a way that I would say read a book.
Yeah.
Like if you're really interested in that event.
Yeah. A note too to like, this is something I actually do in the movie theaters. So a note to like, I don't know, someone at someone's house who's watching a movie and it's like the movie that everyone's watching and you feel this peer pressure to watch along. So I like, don't ever underestimate like the old, like look down, cover your eyes. Like once you see that, you can't like get it out of your head. Yeah. But I was going to say, I do this like when the trailers are showing, like I hate scary movies and stuff like that. So I'm someone texted me. I need to respond to this.
We both do that
during the trailer.
Yeah.
Like, I need to, draft this huge email or something.
Do you trust yourself enough? Like I know how corrupt my heart is.
To look down?
Yeah, to be like,
I just really don't want it. I mean, it's
in the moment. Oh, great. Like, but like,
it's mostly for like.
I guess I could take a peek. I don't know. But I think the historical example of this.
I really don't want to.
Oh, for horror movies. Okay.
Yeah. But I think still with sexual scenes, maybe it's a little easier to like part of you wants to see it maybe. So skipping forward or not looking away or something like that. Just to say, not saying that's the solution, but there is value in literally averting your eyes.
I think it's Augustine's Confessions. This is his autobiography. He's talking about one of his friends who comes to Christ and just loved the Colosseum, like going to Colosseums and watching people get murdered, the violence of it, the like.
Dang.
Yeah.
Something we might equate to like some movies for us that this is what they would do.
Not John Wick.
Yeah, exactly. But the Colosseum would fill up and people would revel in, glorify, praise, just get this bloodlust about watching people die. And this believer comes to Christ and has the same friends. So he's like, I'll go to the Colosseum and I'll just cover my ears and I'll cover my eyes and put my head down for that part. And I don't need to be part of it.
Yeah.
And he describes this like hearing the noise, hearing the chants and the cheers and like even just a fraction of it. And within moments, he's like back in it. His eyes are open. He's cheering. He's wrapped up again in this bloodlust.
Yeah.
That I think for a lot of people, it is dangerous and it's scary. Yeah, I mean, especially when you're dealing, even like as a parent dealing with your kids and teens or young people that are
and that applies
desperately
so well
curious.
That applies so well to some of the other things like drug use, for example. If that's something that you like have a history struggling with and you see it in movies, like if I see that, I personally, I haven't, done that. So I don't know what that's like or what it doesn't evoke anything in me personally, but someone else watching it could be like, oh, I used to do that or used to struggle with that with substance abuse or something and then fall back into that. So being aware, if you're like, love the Colosseum, maybe don't go back there,
Okay. Yeah. So there's content that can be triggering for you.
Yeah.
And for you in general.
Having personal discretion is good.
But is there content that do you think there's content that should be triggering to you or is triggering to you without you realizing it? So for example, using God's name in vain, like is a lot of these, maybe not IMDb, but I think Plugged In and I don't know about Common Sense will list like how many times they take Jesus' name in vain.
Yeah, IMDb does. Yeah.
Growing up, this was the thing that like my parents were pretty strict about. Like if a movie if I hear it 2 or 3 times, like we're turning it off. And I remember being like, well, it doesn't bother me. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't bother me that I hear it. Like I can ignore it. And I remember her response distinctly. She's like, but it hurts me. Like I hear them taking my Savior, my Lord, like the one who died for me, his name, and using it as a cuss word, like just using it in a useless, sort of atrocious way. And she's like, I love him. So like, why would I ever put up with that? Like there's nothing so entertaining that I should be willing to like listen to his name. And I remember thinking, well, I don't feel that way, but that's hard to argue with. And should I feel that way? Like as a Christian, should I be okay hearing people use Jesus' name in that way? And like, is it a sign that I don't love him enough, or like my affection is waning because I don't hear people taking his name in vain and get offended. And I think there's something about that perhaps we're becoming, maybe by watching these things, maybe by being around people that talk this way, we're making ourselves callous to something that we really should be offended at, that God's name is holy.
Yeah.
And God's name is not to be used uselessly.
Oh, for sure.
So like it should be offending me. And it maybe it's not an excuse to watch these films because it doesn't offend me.
That's fair.
So
In any of those categories.
yeah. So like for violence, this isn't offending me, but shouldn't it offend me that someone made in God's image is having their life taken from them over something useless? Like when I watch someone die, like shouldn't I be offended that like the image of God is being so desecrated that people are just killing each other?
If they're taken in a useful way, you will watch it then?
That's a good question, but shouldn't I be offended and pricked by the fact that life is being treated so like it's nothing, like it's garbage, like it can be tossed aside and actually something to entertain you. Like the same thing that's happening in the Colosseum, that, for the entertainment factor of, can that guy really beat up that lion, or is he going to make it? Is he going to survive? Like, is that worth watching someone made in God's image lose the most precious thing that they've ever been given, which is their life, and like reveling in it?
I don't know, man. I think there's definitely a difference between watching it portrayed in a movie where no one dies in real life and then watching in the Colosseum, not to get like too into the weeds. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on this? Like specifically violence. I don't think like gore for the sake of gore is like a good thing, but I think sometimes depicting, violence in like a war movie, for example, can be helpful, at least maybe to men specifically. Cause I think if we grow up, like sometimes men are called to defend with their own blood, people that they love, their country, whatever. Like if you never see that, like, can it be useful in that way? Cause it's like almost like not preparation, but do you see where I'm kind of going with that? Like where you kind of see it and you're not desensitized to it, but it's not like a total surprise. Like what if you have to fight someone who's, robbing you or going to hurt someone else? And you're like, I don't know. Can't connect with that violent part of.
Maybe two responses. One, like how much does watching these movies really prep you for that moment?
Dude, now that I've seen John Wick, I can totally do all the little gun foo stuff.
You'd really be able to take someone down and break their arm, and just from watching John Wick. No. That's the answer. Yeah, probably not.
Sorry, go ahead.
One, how much does it really prepare you? And then two, is it actually good to be desensitized to blood and gore and guts and those things? Like, is that a good thing?
That's a great question. It actually goes back to what you were talking about before, I think. I think we're all gifted in different ways. And this makes me think of like just different vocations everybody has. Mm-hmm. Like, I think we were talking about this the other day about like nurses and doctors also talking about soldiers. And like there's just jobs in this world where you have to like be somewhat desensitized to blood and guts and different things. My dad's friend in Hawaii, like basically his job is to pick up dead bodies. Like he goes, he picks up the dead body at the crime scene or wherever the dead body is, just maybe natural death. And like, that's his job. And I know like, I couldn't do that. Like I know a lot of people that can't do that. But it's a job that needs to be done. Somebody has to do it. And like, he's the right personality for it. And like, obviously there's probably precautions he takes and probably like things he does to like deal with that heavy stuff. But like policemen have to deal with violence and other things. And so it's like, okay, like I think also like we all have different sensitivities too, when it comes to like the career that we're called to. Like, I'm sensitive in ways where I'm like, in some ways I'm like, oh yeah, I think I could like be a policeman or whatever. But then I think about like, oh, like what if like, this guy has a gun in this situation and I'm trapped or something, like I don't know what I would do. Or maybe my officer's like life is on the line, and if I go in there, maybe I'm shot. Maybe I would be too scared. Like, so with that example, like I know it's just more for entertainment, but I do notice that like people also have different sensitivities. Like my dad also similarly, like any language in any movie, he just like cannot handle, and he has to, like just be like, no, got to turn it off. Then I have other Christian friends who like, there's some language in a film, and their sensitivity and is just not like as intense with language as my dad is. Or I think of violence, like, we can watch like a war movie, or probably all three of us can watch a war movie, but then my wife is like, can't handle a drop of blood on screen, has to look away even, it's a cut or something. So I think that also is another aspect to talk about or to think about of like, okay, how does that play in to all of these different issues and topics? Like that's like goes back to your question of like, is there, like if somebody's like, I'm not sensitive to sexual content, like, is that possible? Like, is it possible for someone to like see images like that, or someone to hear language like that in a film, to see violence like that, and for it to like not negatively affect them as much as maybe somebody else? This is like it's something that is like a hard thing to like find an answer to.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's why defining movies as entertainment is important to this, because these are two different categories. Like you doing your job and having to gun someone down, like, or having to see dead bodies, or having to like, that's a different category than being entertained by the thing.
Yeah. Totally.
See what I'm getting at? Like there's something philosophically different when we say, there's people who are going to have to experience this. There's people that are going to have to go to war and see death and maybe hopefully be thinking of the day that's soon coming when there will be no more death and no more pain and no more tears, and thinking of God's good restoration that's going to make all of it right.
Yeah.
But should that be the content of the thing that we find entertainment in? Like when entertainment's a choice, and entertainment's like, I'm choosing what I am feeding myself for pleasure's sake.
Yeah.
Should it be those things?
Well, that's a good follow-up question, is like, then is just movies and TV, is it only solely entertainment? Like, should that be the main purpose that we're watching films? Or like, is there something beyond entertainment for certain kinds of films, or just film in general? Or maybe a film, like is a film, the way that it's being made and the way that it's released, we shouldn't just see movies as entertainment. And I would say the vast majority of films have an entertainment factor to them. But there's some films where it's like, hey, the purpose isn't necessarily so that you came out and had a fun time, that you're entertained. More so, the purpose is to like make you aware of something, to make you interested to know more about it, and to like educate you on that topic. Or even like trying to give some sort of life lesson. A lot of films will blend entertainment with a life lesson. But kind of the two, but anyway.
So how often do you think that's actually happening? So if you think of like our 800, 900 person church, the next movie that every single one of them watches, out of 800 to 900, how many do you think any of them it'll be that film, or it'll be an educational film, or it'll be like a film that's meant to portray historical realism? What do you guys think? Like, do you think this is
probably not? But
I mean, like maybe 20, like out of 900, like,
well, like Saving Private Ryan is a super popular like film everybody knows, and like that's an important film, I would say.
Yeah, but I was saying like the next film that you watch is like a historically reenacted rated R movie. Is that, I mean, that's kind of what the question is. Like, is it strictly not entertainment?
Like this movie about the genocide. I don't know that I've met someone that's like, this is what I'm into, and I like watching these sorts of movies. I think most people, it's like when we're talking about this question, would be, should I watch the next Marvel movie, or should I watch that movie that?
But to Kyle's point though, too, I mean, I think Saving Private Ryan is an excellent example because a lot of people have seen it. And that's one of those movies that like, I think it does kind of like, to what my point I was trying to say earlier, and I don't think I made it very well. Like there's something when you watch that movie where you're like, you're not like, oh, it's a Saturday morning, I got nothing to do, let's watch Saving Private Ryan. You know, it's like, it's heavy and it's dark and it's like, makes you feel sick. But at the same time, you also like, I know only speaking as a man, it's like, you're like, what if I had to do that one day? What if I'm called to do that? Like, will I have what it takes? Like, and then you see the payoff, that they fight for each other. They're fighting for their country and all that. And like, there is like an end to it. So it's not like if someone's going to come at you and you're like just scared, like maybe a movie like that can help you kind of reorient your mind to go like, sometimes it's valuable to be violent back in response to violence, to defend people, you know? all that to say, if you watch a movie like that, maybe there is more value in that, and even community building and talking about it with other guys. Like, we don't have a World War II, and I pray there isn't World War III in our lifetime, but we don't have to be called to that level of sacrifice personally. But what if we did? And you can kind of interact with that sort of thing. At that same time, like, I think I've seen that movie once, maybe twice. Like, I don't have to really see it again. But then I'll watch like John Wick, or some other action movie where people are dying for basically no reason, and they're not, it's not like real people dying, they're stunt people and everything. Not like stunt people aren't real people. No one's
lower
like,
class of people.
No one's physically being like killed or harmed in that way.
It's funny. They're not just people pretending to be other people. They're people pretending to be other people who are pretending to be other people.
Yeah, that pretend to die.
That's a special level of acting.
Yeah. Praise to the stuntman. They're adding it to the Academy Awards next year, I think.
Are they really?
Stunt category, yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I think there can be a distinction there. But yeah, most people I think are going to just go out and watch an entertaining movie. But I think the question still stands. Like, I'd encourage anybody watching, like, when you get out of the movie, just think about, like, what was it trying to tell me? Like, that's what we talk about all the time. What was it telling me? And then did it do a good job telling me that thing?
Yes.
Because a lot of the times it fails at that. And that's what makes a bad movie, for the most part.
Well, that's a film major question.
Yes. No. But
the question of...
I think that should be a general
wait.
thing.
Okay, the first one, like, what did that movie tell me?
Yes, that was a film major question. Yeah.
No, that's a good one. The what did that film tell me? Did the
I
film
see.
do a good job of
I see
telling
what you're
me
saying.
that? That's a film major question that people shouldn't be asking.
They should. Oh, 1,000%. they should. 1,000%.
It's not as important as the first question.
No, it is, because if it doesn't tell it well, it could have, on the journey to like getting to that truth, that journey could be a false way of getting to that truth.
But so you're saying that if they did tell it in a good way, like if they did it in an effective, if they told the message in an effective way, it was produced well, it was excellent, that makes it good? That makes the content good?
No, I think objectively it makes the movie good. Like, if the movie has a mission and it accomplishes that would, generally speaking, I think, make it a good movie, because that's the point of making the movie. That doesn't make the content good. And that's kind of my point, is that when you're watching like a movie that's purely for entertainment and you get to the end, you're like, that was a good movie. It was well made. The effects look cool. The action, whatever. I laughed a couple times. I cried a couple times, whatever. But then you get to the end and you're like, wait, the whole movie was that, like, we shouldn't trust in our parents or something, or like, the government is only evil and seeks out to destroy us, or life is pointless. It's nihilistic, but it's really told really well. There's plenty of movies that have that message that are told so well. And most of those movies were the movies that you should have watched as a film major. And then you go like, why do I feel so hopeless and depressed after watching that movie? So there's a difference there, I think, between like what are they trying to say and how they're saying it. But I agree with you. The primary focus should be, what are they saying? And then kind of wrestle with that a little bit. Like, what's the main theme? Is it, there's people fighting aliens and it's fun and it's cool, and like someone's got a superpower, but like, what are they saying? Are they saying things that are truthful that we can find in scripture, about themes of love and family and sacrifice and all that stuff? Or are they saying things that are like super anti-human, anti-God, I
think the reason I push back is because as a shepherd, my question, like the wolves that are in sheep clothing and seem like sheep, or do a really good job, or seem so persuasive, or communicate effectively, like, are the most dangerous ones, are the ones that we should be looking at and saying like, no, that's the worst.
Well, that's what I'm talking about though, is like, so say a film's talking about grief, and the film is giving you an example of like, this is how you overcome grief. This is how you get from like the moment the event happens and you're grieving to the point where you're free of it. And you're like, wow, the film taught me about grief. That's awesome. And you like, you ask, what truth is it telling me? It's telling me how to overcome grief. That's great. But you should ask that follow-up question, because the journey to get to the point of overcoming that grief is that journey that character went on, or whoever it is in the film, is that journey line up with what scripture tells us we should do in the grieving process? like,
Okay,
so it's a different question.
Yeah, I think it's so not like I'm saying did they do a good job technically, but what you're saying is did
More
they
do
do
a good
a good job
job with the
arriving
message.
at the right conclusion?
Yes.
Okay.
So you're still
more
talking
what I'm
about?
I think you guys
a
are saying the
message.
same thing.
Yeah, I think we're talking about something different, but I just want to clarify what I was trying to
yeah,
articulate.
totally get you.
Is more so with like the final message.
Like, what's the
lesson.
moral? But how
did we get
the
there?
story get you to the moral?
Yeah.
So
and
you're
that-
talking about content.
Yeah, the journey matters.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll watch something and we're like, wow, that had a great message. But we're like, okay, but like the journey there, does that also line up to that?
Well, but that's the message. Like the whole journey is the message.
But sometimes we don't just think about the movie enough to even have that conversation.
Yeah. It's
you know.
important to have that conversation. If you get to the end and you're like, and it teaches you that everything you need can be found in yourself and you don't need anybody else, then it's like, well, that's not a good message. That's not what we see in scripture. Like we need Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a good thing to have those critical conversations after you're walking out of the theater. Like just consider that if you're watching this podcast and you don't ever ask that question to yourself, like it can open up a lot of cool conversations with people that you're seeing those movies with, and even lead to opportunities where you can kind of share the gospel. Like, hey, that was really good. That meant a lot, but it's like, but that's not actually where you get true hope from. Talk about Jesus,
So I guess like trying to get back to like a very where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
How do we answer the question? The movie like that where you're saying the message, the journey is right. So for example, one of these movies where the main character tries to find joy in the world in like prodigal son style, like they go out, do all the things, sex, drugs, whatever.
Yeah.
They're depicting this the whole time. Profanity, Lord's name in vain, violence, like all of this is being depicted. But as long as at the end of the movie, he's in the ash heap, he's torn up, he's broken, and he realizes like this isn't the way to life. As long as that's the moral, it makes it so watching all the other stuff is okay.
It's a great question.
Yeah, it is. Kyle, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Explain yourselves, filmmakers.
No, that's a great question. And we have this conversation all the time. We'd be like, oh, the message is worth it. So it's worth it to go through the content. And sometimes when
We've
we're
literally
saying,
said before, like, I don't think this movie's worth it.
yeah. And then we'll like, in the past, more often we would be like, oh, let's just do it anyway. If you're a believer, you have a conscience, like if it will affect you or not. Not all the time, but there are times with us where we'd be like, okay, we probably shouldn't, but we still would. And then we realize like, oh man, the message, we already knew the message. Like we've read the prodigal son story. Like we have heard that truth before, and all those images and just how that character treated people, like wasn't worth it. But then it gets back to like, for me personally, at least for me, like I'm like, I caution people like, hey, content is more effective and more powerful than you think. Like going back to what I said about like, there were times when we would know like this probably affects us in a negative way. There's also times where it's like I don't think it would bother me, but I'm like, you know what? It's better to be safe than sorry for my soul to not engage with that. I guess, seeing something visually, I think something to talk about too is like an argument maybe someone watching would make is like, well, scripture has rape, scripture has, extreme violence, 10 peg through the temple. Like, people are using God's name in vain in scripture, but we can picture those things reading it. Like some people can create a better image in their head than others, but like seeing it being depicted is much more vivid and real than like imagining it. And so like these images are really powerful. And like, I think it's better to exercise precaution and be like, my relationship with God is more important than engaging with that content. Even if the message is like super great, it's okay. This movie is going so deep into that. It seems even like indulgent of that. And so like, I think if a Christian were to make the prodigal son story, like I think they would do a good job of implying a lot of things, but also still getting the feel to the audience of like, this is what the person's doing. Like these are like you don't see as much, but you understand like, oh, he's being promiscuous. Like You don't see as much maybe with like maybe they do show more alcohol stuff. I don't know. But like you get the feel of what he's doing, and then you get to the point where there's redemption and everything. Whereas maybe like somebody who's not a believer made the film, they're just like, well, let's show all of it. And that's where it's like, okay, for our souls, like we should be careful to like, maybe that's not worth entering into and visiting.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, like those images are going to be stuck with you forever. So,
Yeah. That's good.
And the other problem that I'm sensing from this is how you guys watch movies feels drastically different than how I watch movies and other people watch movies.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people go and read the synopsis of a movie and they're like, should we watch it? Like I just read the whole plot. I analyzed like what the themes are going to be. And then I decide no, I think most people are like, I'm watching the movie so I learn the plot. Like I'm not going to go analyze the plot beforehand.
I don't watch the plot. I don't want to spoil it either. But I think there's a level of discernment that just looking at a movie poster, you go like, I get what they're going to show me. And that's a horror movie. It's a creepy face on there. I'm going to go watch that because I like that or something. Like that there's a level of discernment that's being exercised there. I would just encourage people to take that one step further and look up resources that will tell you what's in the movie without spoiling it. I think there's still, though, there's a practical risk watching a movie once you've checked those other websites that the theme and what they're trying to tell you is not biblical. And sometimes it's a roll of the dice, you know? So I'm not necessarily advocating don't watch any movies because it could have content that's not good or something like that, but just exercise a little bit more discernment.
Something about, like I encourage anyone watching to definitely like check beforehand. But one cool factor about IMDb that's really cool, like for me, like I usually am very careful and try to be very careful with like the sexual content of a film. So the cool thing about IMDb's parent guide is if you scroll down before you even select on the specific details of the content of that category, every category will tell you like none, which is green, and then yellow, which is mild, like orange, moderate, or like red for severe. And you'll see that for like every category. You'll see it for language, nudity, frightening images, violence. So
yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, maybe just to wrap it up to answer the original question, should Christians watch R-rated movies? We didn't really touch on the sorcery thing. I think just to blanketly say it, I think that kind of might tie into some of the other main categories that we talked about.
Maybe, I don't know, I could give 2 minutes on that. I think what's behind that question is, what if the movie has a drastically different worldview than we have? And are those worldviews dangerous? Because I think that's part of the sorcery thing is we're depicting a world where humans govern and dictate and can use magic and can do things that Christians would look at and say like, no, that's not our place.
Like only God can do that.
This is God. Yeah, we were called not to touch those things or be near those things. Scripture is pretty clear. So how much of this worldview is like pressing on my worldview? And I think most often this question comes up for kids, like parents thinking about kids. What should I let my kids watch? And I think the reason that's a good thing to do with kids is because they're learning worldview. They're learning what it means to live in the world and look at the world and how I should think about the world. And so parents should censor worldviews for their kids. And you just see this go so wrong with kids getting so obsessed with so different types of stories, and we should be very cautious about what the world is teaching our children. And then as you grow and as you get more solidified in your worldview and what you think is right and good, and what it means to follow the Lord, perhaps there's more room to like engage with these things as long as you can do it in a way that's this is wrong, this is right, and be engaging in the film the way you guys are talking about, of like analyzing, and perhaps there's some merit there. But I think we should also recognize that there is content which, even if we're recognizing it as wrong, and we're saying like by the end of the movie, like, yeah, that sex scene showed how faithlessness in marriage really destroys your life, doesn't give you a good reason to watch the sex scene.
Yeah, totally.
That just because, using the Lord's name in vain doesn't affect you and it's not tempting you to do it, is it really a good thing to be entertained by people blaspheming our God?
Yeah.
I think the question becomes like, what I choose for entertainment is this thing really making me more holy, or is this, even if it's not, like, is it a good thing to be entertained by?
Yeah.
Is the things that I'm choosing to be entertained by making me more holy? And that's a much harder question. And I know that in the Christian life, maybe that sounds legalistic, but I don't think it is. Like 1 Thessalonians says, the will of God in your life is that you would be sanctified. Like that's the whole point of our life, is that we would become more holy. Mm-hmm. So what we choose to be entertained by, we should, if we're choosing it, it should be something that's making us more holy.
Yeah. It makes me think of 1 Corinthians 10:31. So whether you eat, drink, or whatever you do all for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. Like the way that we watch films and the way that we engage with media should be glorifying to God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm convicted by this. Like, how much do I
Yeah, me too.
revel in, glory in watching other people say atrocious things and do atrocious things. And yeah, I think I need to be more cautious and like learn how to be more cautious. And
yeah, I think that's the main takeaway that we want people to think about too, is just be cautious. And I mean, I don't expect everybody to be a film major kind of thing, but I think exercising that extra level of critical thinking when you're going and intaking content. It's not, I think people intake movies faster than they would a book or something else.
Yeah.
And it still can affect you so much. So just be aware of that. And it's a really complex, multifaceted thing. So if we left anything out, let us know.
Yeah, there's a lot more we can talk about.
But
we only have so much time.
I'm just a stick in the mud that the Puritan who says,
movies.
Don't watch movies, be very careful.
Gosh. No, don't. Yeah, be very careful. That's a good piece of advice. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. We appreciate it, and hope you took away something from this conversation. If you have your own question and you'd like to submit it and have us answer it here on the podcast, send your question to ask@rhcc.net, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for joining us.